Hello, fellow future gunter. If you have clicked here is because you are interested in trying the Gunlance in Monster Hunter Wilds' new demo that got released today for every platform. And I got good news, the Gunlance in Monster Hunter Wilds is awesome. A weapon built around solid defense and explosive bursts of damage. This video is about explaining the principles of Gunlance from an absolute zero, without any assumption you even have played any Monster Hunter before. You can access your first Gunlance in the demo from Alma as soon as you get through the first portion of the demo. There, she will make you some personality quiz and will suggest a weapon. To get suggested Gunlance, just say that the best defense is a good defense and that you still want to have some punch. Of course, you can also ask her to directly pick it. Once you get it equipped, I recommend you to spend a moment in the barrel there to get used a bit to the moves. Gunlance has two categories of attacks. First is your standard melee damage that works like every weapon in the game, where you deal damage depending of how hard is the skin of the monster in the part you hit. And then there is shelling damage that are explosions that ignore these defenses, plus a bit of extra fire damage. Shelling is the main feature of the Gunlance, and what takes it apart from the rest of the weapons in the game. In your controller, the melee attacks are usually done with the button at the top. Triangle, for example, in a PS5 controller, or Y in an Xbox One, and your shell attacks are focused on the button on the right, that is the circle, or B, the controller. To not be too confusing then, and be more platform agnostic, I will call them as melee or shell buttons. The most basic Gunlance attack is the shell. You perform it by just tapping the shell button. This attack is very weak and really useless by itself. The real value of the regular shells is that you can move in any direction while using them. This movement is fast and doesn't consume any stamina, so is a great way to position yourself around the monster. And if after any shell you use the melee button while holding any direction, you will perform a moving sweep. That is the other Gunlance fundamental move. Like its name says, you will also move while using this sweep, so it is also great to move around. Shell into sweep are good, but the real reason why they are the Gunlance staple is because if you press both the melee and shell buttons at once, you will perform the Wormstake Full Blast move. That's a mouthful. The Wormstake Full Blast is a crazy move where you unload all your shells in a thing called a burst fire, and then you fire a stake. And if it wasn't crazy enough, if you press any button after it, then you will reload everything and repeat it. Almost nothing a Gunlance can do matches the damage of this combo, and is the reason why I'm rushing to talk about it in this guide before even talking about reloading. The combo of Shell, Sweep, and Wormstake Full Blast is the life of Gunlance and what puts it in the levels of the other weapons. Master it, and you are mastering most of the Gunlance. The difference between a Gunlancer noob and a Gunlancer master is knowing when and how to use it. The biggest drawback of the Wormstake Full Blast is the commitment to perform the whole move. The motion of shell and sweep already takes a long time before you can even start with Wormstake Full Blast, and the whole motion also takes ages. The common noob mistake is being obfuscated in spamming this combo over and over. That will work at first on the lower difficulty quests, but the more you go on in the game, the more you will be punished by mistakes. And because of that, you must be also familiar with the rest of techniques and nuance of the Gunlance. A lot of echo chamber messages about Gunlance in Wilds is just spamming the Wormstake Full Blast combo and nothing else, but in reality goes a lot deeper because you aren't going to be able to do that all game long. Wormstake Full Blast is the backbone, but not the whole skeleton. There is a fundamental in Wild's Gunlance that is the use of focus mode. Focus mode with the default controls is performed by holding the left trigger of your controller. While you are holding it, your combos will auto-aim to the center of your screen. And your character will automatically adjust its position to hit there. This hugely helps to land your Wormstake Full Blasts and every single other move of Gunlance. Furthermore, having focus mode active has a secondary effect called magnetism. While it is active, your character will gain extra forward movement towards the monster if it is on range. This will allow you to land your attacks on monsters that are quite far from you that will miss otherwise. Because of this, the cases where you shouldn't have focus mode active are very, very fringe. So the first big recommendation is to have it always on. Since keeping your finger always holding a button is a bother, you should make use of the option setting to be able to activate focus mode with just a tap of the button. This will greatly improve your experience with the weapon and its attacks. I'm going to roll back a bit and get back to the basic shell attack since I haven't talked about ammo and the different types of shell attacks. These attacks use shells that are indicated by these icons in the corner. Tapping the shell button will consume 1, and the normal type, which is the default kind of Gunlance, can hold 6 at first. If you are out of shells and try to use the shell button, you will instead perform a quick reload. Quick reload will recover all your shells and at the same time will provide a small guard point while performing it. As its name indicates, it is the faster way to recover shells. The secondary benefit of quick reload is that it allows you to follow it with a slam movement by pressing both buttons. The slam move is stronger than a poke, but you really only do it for its follow-up options. If you press the shell button after a slam, you will perform a burst fire. Burst fire is a move where you unleash all your remaining shells at once. You can imagine this deals the damage of 6 times a single shell, but is even better since these shells are powered up, so is even more damage. The normal type of shelling has extra damage on burst fire, but the other 2 shell types also have some extra damage. Burst fire is weaker than worm stake full blast because the second move includes launching the stake, but is a lot faster to perform and recover from. The slam and the burst motions also can be performed after what the same calls a perfect guard. A perfect guard happens when you get hit while performing a regular guard that is performed by holding the right trigger of the controller or while performing a move with a guard point like quick reload. Perfect guards have lots of nuances over the guarding you can do by holding the guard. For this, that is intended to be a beginner video, so I'm going to keep it simple. When guarding triggers a perfect guard, you will get a very characteristic sound effect, and this will enable additional moves from the ones you can do from holding guard. One of those is a slam into burst, being one of the best things you can do after guarding, being the absolute best if the following opportunity doesn't leave you time for initiating the worm stake full blast combo. Perfect guarding will also reduce the damage you take while guarding and the block stun. The alternative best combo after guarding, regardless if it was a perfect or a regular one, is the staple: shell, sweep, sweep, worm stake full blast. And then there is another option, wyvern fire. When I said that worm stake full blast was one of the strongest Gunlance moves instead of the strongest, it is because of wyvern fire. Wide Gunlances feature wavinger wyvern fires, and its damage is always superior to the full blast combo. To perform wyvern fire, you must have charges. Wyvern fire charges are indicated by these icons at the top of the screen. Wyvern fire deals 5 very damaging hits at point blank and has a massive range, but the farther you are from the monster, the less number of hits you will get. The regular but worst way to perform wyvern fire is by holding the guard button and pressing both melee and shell button at once. You will then start to charge the wyvern fire very, very slowly, and finally fire hit, resulting also in a huge recoil. The good news is that there is a variant that is significantly faster to fire. To get the faster version of wyvern fire, you must perform it after launching any stake, like the end of the worm stake full blast, or after a perfect guard, or even after another wyvern fire. These are a lot of options for the fast one. Notice how the first way is after worm stake full blast, so that combo becomes even more powerful because after it you may chain 2 fast wyvern fires for absolutely demolishing damage. Wyvern fire uses are recovered the most by hitting the monster. You also get some over time, but it is negligible. Not all attacks recover it at the same rate, but some faster than others. The 2 things that recover it the most are once again the worm stake full blast combo and then charged shells. Charged shells are performed by holding the shell button. While holding the shell button, you will start to prepare the shells on your chamber into the Gunlance. And when you release the button, you will fire all the prepared shells, dealing extra damage with each shell, plus improving the range of it. Normal type Gunlances are absolutely horrible at using charged shells because the huge chamber. Wide type gun lances are the best at it, dealing greater damage per shell, plus taking the least time since they only can hold 2 to 3 shells. Charged shells also feature worse recoil than regular ones. That recoil can be reduced by performing a quick reload while you are recovering, and like shells can be followed up by a moving sweep. In the demo and most of the early wilds, charged shells aren't very recommended because they only shine on wide gun lances, and with making use of the focus and load shell skills, so I don't going to get too deep into it. With all this, I have covered almost every kind of fundamental gunlance move, but the other two related with stakes. The stake's full name is worm stake, like the first part of the staple combo. To use a stake, you must have one ready indicated by this icon on the top. As noted before, stakes are used as part of the worm stake full blast combo, but can be also used in a standalone way by pressing the melee button after any sweep type move. So for example, you can do shell, moving sweep, and then worm stake. This is of course weaker than the full blast version because you aren't doing the burst unleading the shells, but it is quite faster, so can be used to deal some nice damage if you don't have time for the full combo. The other benefit is that it is a good setup for the fast wyvern fire, taking less time than performing the combo. Because of all this, you only use the stake sparingly. The long type features stronger worm stakes, that is barely nothing at all. The demo doesn't feature any long gun lance, and in the full game, long gun lances are left behind for several reasons. The only real benefit is featuring a longer range on shelling attacks, but because focus mode magnetism, it is very hard to whiff shells. Yep, this sucks. Anyways, let's continue. The final stake type attack is the focus attack of the Gunlance. A focus attack is a move used by pressing the right shoulder button while focus mode is active and is designed to be used on wounds. In the case of Gunlance, its focus attack is called Drake Auger. Drake Auger as a very slow startup where you are forced into a reload and then you drill forward. If you hit a wound on the monster that is indicated by a red shine while focus mode is active, you will then drill further and then you will launch a worm stake. The biggest thing about Drake Auger is that from the moment you touch the wound until you fire the worm stake, the monster will become paralyzed. This is a wonderful thing in multiplayer or playing with support hunters, since they will have a great opportunity to perform their full combos. Even in single player is advantageous because it is still free damage where the monster can't do anything after it, and you will be able to use it too to set up a fast wyvern fire that will be easy to land safely. Landing the auger can be very tricky at first and requires accounting for the slow startup, but this is like everything on Gunlance. Wyvern fire requires time, worm stake full blast also takes time. When you do an auger, if you are holding forward, you will move a bit further, but with limited capacity to turn around or look up. If you are close to the monster, instead use auger without holding a direction, and you will have improved capacity to turn around while using it. This helps a lot for hitting something like a head. The auger motion is also performed as the mount finisher. Mounting is performed by attacking the monster with aerial attacks. Gunlance features 3 aerial attacks. The air poke is the weakest move, performing the melee button while jumping from an edge or sight cret. The advantage of this move is that it makes mounting easier. With 2 air pokes, you will mount any monster, and that allows you to set up when to do it. Air slam is done by using the guarding button while in the air. This move will also reload all your shells, and is the best one if you are jumping with an empty chamber. The last one can be done by tapping the shell button while jumping, or by pressing both buttons while mounting Sacred. This will perform the air burst, where you do a burst fire mid-air. This move is slower than the air slam, and you will not reload any shell, but has the special feature that after landing, you can immediately use the melee button for a stake for both buttons, for initiating the worm stake full blast ASAP being one of the best and fastest ways to initiate the combo. The airburst also has the feature that it is impossible to initiate a mount using it. So it is perfect to use if you don't want to mount the monster because you are saving it for a moment, like stopping a hard move or avoiding it to change areas or run away to the nest. I have covered a lot of things in this video, and frankly, this is not even everything. Like, for example, the lunging move that is done by hitting the melee button while walking forward. This is a move that covers a lot of ground forward and you can shell at any moment of it, even before you do the melee attack. So with this, you can forward lunge, moving sweep, and moving shell, and cover an insane amount of ground in front of you and reach the monster anywhere on the field. To wrap up the video, the battle plan of the Gunlance is really very simple, although you get all this options. Your basic staple combo is shell, sweep, worm stake, full blast, and then wyvern fire if available. If you want to play it safe, or you don't know if you got time for the previous combo, you can then use the combo of quick reload, slam, burst, and then hop to cancel the recovery of the burst, and then tap again the shell button to quick reload and repeat. This deals good damage and you will move around using it while being safe for most. The motion is the best thing to do with a normal Gunlance if you don't want to risk being hit. In the demo, the best available Gunlance is the Quimatrice one. This one features the slightly strong Shell Power type. Shell Power is a multiplier of the damage of your shell's attacks. To make it simple, avoid any Gunlance that is not slightly strong. Quimatrice is the earliest one and also features a good attack stat. If you continue into the full game, keep using it until you defeat the flagship monster Arkveld, then you will get the Guardian Arkveld Gunlance that is wide but has so much attack that is better than Quimatrice or any other Gunlance at that. You can keep upgrading the Guardian Arkveld Gunlance until the endgame being the best Gunlance all around until you reach the very endgame. I'm planning to do a complete updated Gunlance guide that covers absolutely everything. This is a very long video and hasn't covered even half of everything Gunlance related in Wilds. So keep an eye out for my channel for more Gunlance stuff. Thanks for watching, I hope to see you soon.